Hello, everybody. You're doing well. This is, let me turn that fan off. Interferes with my slurred speech as it is. So I was led to speak during prayer, speak about, again, about tithing, which I've spoken about many times. And everybody, this is a key, perfect example of things that people view from a physical perspective, and the church has capitalized on that viewpoint and making it all about them, giving money to them. And people just go there and they think tossing money in a basket or mailing it to them or doing it electronically, whichever way. They think, hey, I'm good with God now. I gave money, done my duty, I'm good. No, it doesn't work that way. First of all, tithing, like everything in the Bible and about God, about Jesus, that was given to us, shared with us, and spoken to us, first and foremost, has a one or multiple spiritual meanings, intent, and purposes. Secondarily, it has a physical perspective, physical meaning. And again, the physical meanings for those who have little or no faith or weak faith or any kind of uncertainty or insincere, who conform to the things of this world and man's laws or God's laws as man's interpreted them and aren't necessarily correct. In fact, never correct fully. So tithing from the physical sense, you give 1/10 of actually the first fruits, 1/10 of the crop, 1/10 of the first of anything you have, of everything, to the Lord. And it says, as I'll go over, read all the places I found mention tithing in the Bible. It can be looked at from the physical perspective, which is what the church wants you to do, or the spiritual perspective, which is what God wants you to do, because God is spirit. And then I'll speak more about interpreting tithing. Okay, let's go to the first place that I found it mentioned is in Genesis 19. I'm sorry, Genesis 14, verse 19. And Melchizedek, or 18, then Melchizedek, remember Jesus was a priest in the order of Melchizedek, so this is the Melchizedek we're speaking of. Then Melchizedek, king of Salem, brought out bread and wine. He was priest of God Most High. So he's a priest and a king, which what Jesus is. And he blessed Abram, this Abraham, saying, Blessed be Abram by God Most High, creator of heaven and earth, and praise be to God Most High, who delivered your enemies into your hand. Then Abram, in return, gave him 1/10 of everything. That was Abram's free will choice to do that. He wasn't commanded by God to do it. It was his free will choice. The king of Sodom said to Abram, Give me the people and keep the goods for yourself. So this is Sodom. We know what Sodom is. He wanted the people. So you keep the goods for yourself. Who does that sound like? The devil. Give me the people. I don't care about stuff. But he gives you stuff so he can get to people. But Abraham, right there, is saying that the devil buys you by giving you stuff so he can have the people. But Abram said to the king of Sodom, With raised hand I've sworn an oath to the Lord, not to you, God Most High. In other words, I've sworn to follow him, not you, your evil ways and the ways of this world. God Most High, creator of heaven and earth, that I will accept nothing belonging to you. I will accept nothing belonging to mankind, or the devil. Not even a thread or strap of a sandal, so that you will never be able to say, I made Abram rich. So he's denying the things of this world, denying the things that the devil puts before us and offers to us, which is wealth and riches. I will accept nothing but what my men have eaten, and the share that belongs to the men who went with me. Let them have their share. So again, deny the things the devil offers you, which is the things of this world. Then we go to Genesis chapter 28, starting verse 20. Then Jacob, later on is Jacob, made a vow, again Jacob, free will vow, saying, if God will be with me and will watch over me on this journey I am taking, and will give me food to eat and clothes to wear, so that I return safely to my father's household, then the Lord will be my God. And this stone that I have set up as a pillar will be God's house, and all that you give me I will give you a tenth. So what do we notice here? Jacob's made the free will vow, and he said, if God will do this for me, then I will give him a tenth. I will build a church and I will give him a tenth to support it. Again, making himself God and mankind first, which is what the church does. If you give this money to us, and do this for us, then we will bless you. Then we will worship you. We'll put your petitions to God. And this is where this follows the progress to wherever the Pharisees, and even to today, what did the Pharisees back then in Jesus' time say before? You want to petition God? You want to pray to God? I'll put your petitions to God and give us some crops, some money, some livestock, something of yours. In other words, pay us, and then we'll petition God for you. And no. It's not how it works. It's not if I get this, then I'll give that. Or if I receive this, then I'll give. It's not even about give and then receive. It's about give for the spirit of giving. It's the thing to do. And then when you do receive, if you receive, be gracious in it. Be humble in it. Don't be proud, refuse to accept it. Be gracious and thankful. So do not give with expectation of receiving. See? Or do not make a condition of your giving. God gives everything freely, unconditionally. Jacob's saying, condition to it. If I do this, Lord, if you do this for me, then I will do this for you. No. Jacob was wrong there. Now we go forward to Numbers. Hope I don't miss any. Numbers, chapter 18, verse 21, and then 26. I give, and the Lord said to Aaron, you will have no inheritance in their land, nor will you have any share among them. I am your share in your inheritance among Israelites. So even to talk about tithing to give to the priest, which is along Aaron's line, he's saying to Aaron, you will have no inheritance. You will have no inheritance in their land, nor will you have any share among them. He's saying you will not have any part of that. I am your share. I am all you need. And your inheritance, I'm your share and your inheritance among the Israelites. I am. Not stuff, not money. I give to the Levites, who are responsible for taking care of the temple. I give to the Levites all the tithes in Israel as their inheritance. Again, him giving it first. In return for the work they do while serving at the tent of meeting. So those who take care of the temple, he gives them all the tithes. So the tithes, he's saying, is to go to those who take care of the church. And again, the church isn't necessarily a physical building. Those who take care of the people, his flock, he gives the tithe, the tenth. Those who serve the flock. From now on, the Israelites must not go near the tent of meeting, well, they will bear the consequences of the sin and will die. So he's even saying we're not even supposed to go near the tent of the meeting. Again, this is still Old Testament. Jesus changed a lot of things. It is the Levites who are to do the work at the tent of meeting and bear the responsibility for any offenses they commit against it. So it's the Levites, the caretakers of the church, who are supposed to go near the church, or into the church. The people are supposed to stay outside of it. So the Levites are responsible for anything that's done against it. This is a lasting ordinance for the generations to come. They will receive no inheritance among the Israelites, so they neither will receive any inheritance. Instead, I give to the Levites as their inheritance the tithes that the Israelites present as an offering to the Lord. That is why I said concerning them, they will have no inheritance among the Israelites. It doesn't belong to them. It belongs to God to take care of the church. Again, it's not necessarily a physical building. Not to go in their pockets, not to make them wealthy. And again, these aren't even the priests, the preachers, and so forth. And the Lord said to Moses, speak to the Levites and say to them, when you receive from the Israelites the tithe I give you as your inheritance, you must present a tenth of that as the Lord's offering. Your offering will be reckoned to you as just like grain from a threshing floor or juice from the winepress. It'll be the same thing. In this way, you also will present an offering to the Lord from all the tithes you receive from the Israelites. From these tithes, you must give the Lord's portion to Aaron the priest. You must present as the Lord's portion the best and the holiest part of everything given to you. So what is given to them, since it's not talking money there, it's talking produce and crops and so forth, of that tenth that they're given to provide for their needs, they're supposed to give the best of that, tenth of the best of that, to the actual priest for his, take care of him, provide for him. Again, nothing about building a bigger building, nothing about buying more property, nothing about buying fancier clothes and new cars and expensive planes. No. For their care, for the care of Levites, for their care, providing, taking care of things, and they give part, a tenth of theirs, the very best part of theirs, to provide for the care of the priest, or the leader of the church. Not the Basilica, not the Vatican City, not with all that wealth that they have. No. Let me go forth. Deuteronomy. It's going forth in time. Deuteronomy 12, verse 5, starting there. But you are to seek, you must not worship the Lord your God in their way, in man's ways. But you are to seek the place the Lord your God will choose from among all your tribes, to put his name there for his dwelling. So you build a church where he wants you to be. In other words, building a church against a spiritual church, not actually necessarily a physical building. He says, I want you to go here. That's what I do now. I go where he says to go. There's wherever two or more of my flock are, there so far am I. He tell you where to go, where to set up shop, where to help others, where to share the word. Not about you. Nothing is about you. That place you must go. There bring your burnt offerings, which he doesn't do burnt offerings anymore, spiritual offerings, guilt and sin offering each night, and your sacrifices, your tithes and special gifts, what you are vowed to give to your free will offerings. If you choose free will to give more, that's up to you. And even what he's asking you to give, still your free will choice. And the firstborn of your herds and flocks, first fruits. There in the presence of the Lord your God, you and your family shall eat and shall rejoice in everything you have put your hand to, because the Lord your God has blessed you. So there in the presence of the Lord your God, which is always in his presence, you can then eat and rejoice in everything that you have, that the Lord provided for you. You are not to do as we do here today, everyone doing as they see fit. Again, it's free will, but he doesn't want you doing as what everybody else does, is whatever you want to do. It's a free will choice, but he wants you to do what he needs you to do and what he requires of you. Now we leap forward to Proverbs, I think. Goes forward in time quite a bit. I thought there was something in Chronicles. Did I miss it? Maybe this is in Chronicles. Okay, it's Chronicles. 2 Chronicles, chapter 31, starting at verse 4. This is Hezekiah speaking, talking about Hezekiah, prophet, or king. He ordered the people living in Jerusalem to give the portion due the priests and Levites so they could devote themselves to the law of the Lord. So the ruler of Israel ordered the people. As soon as the order went out, the Israelites generously gave the first fruits of their grain, their wine, olive oil, honey, and all that the fields produced. It was the very first of it. They brought a great amount, a tithe of everything. Again, look at it physically or spiritually. Tithe of everything that you are, that's inside you. Not necessarily physical. People just look immediately at the physical. Again, this is Old Testament. Jesus changed everything. We go to Nehemiah, chapter 10, verse 35. We also assume responsibility for bringing to the house of the Lord each year the first fruits of our crops and of every fruit tree. As it is also written in the law. Now, if you want to go literally, okay, but everybody wants to go physically, perspective, and literally. Well, literally it says, also written in the law, we will bring the firstborn of our sons and of our cattle, of our herds, and our flocks to the house of our God, to the priests ministering there. Moreover, we will bring to the storerooms of the house of our God, to the priests, the first of our ground meal, of our grain offerings, of the fruit of our trees, of our new wine and olive oil. And we'll bring a tithe of our crops to the Levites, for it is Levites who collect the tithes in all the towns where we work. A priest. So again, go literally, physically perspective, they're giving their first son to the church. Probably to become priests, but to be ministered to, raised in the church. It wasn't uncommon to send daughters there as well in the time of Jesus. I mean, Mary was sent there, Jesus' mother. She started out being brought up in the church, ministered to. Her mother. So, again, it's physical perspective, but God is spirit, spiritual perspective. And first fruits. The Levites take care of the church, take care of the people of the church, God's church, His flock. In other words, like shepherds. And a tenth of the best of them, what they get to provide for the care of the priest, or the leader of the church, who is Jesus. But specifically on physical churches, whatever it may be, not necessarily a building, provide for their needs. Not to give them fancy clothes, not to give them fancy cars, multiple cars, fancy homes, bigger homes, multiple homes, airplanes, jets, traveling, bigger churches. No. Not build bigger churches, more buildings to the church, taking on more people. I mean, just like everything man's created, government, church, businesses, any entity, individuals, the more you get, the more they get, the more they want. They get hunger and hunger, and yet take in more to feed their hunger. And the hunger gets bigger and bigger. No. And they want you. And they twist that, some organizations, whether it's, I'm not even going to name specific organizations or religions, they promote this prosperity theology and want you to make more money, help you to make more money, and twist the words of God so it's okay to make more money. And then turn around and say, give a tenth of that. It's giving them more money. They want you to make more money so that they get more money. Don't fall for that. Don't fall for that. Pay attention. Let me move on from here, Nehemiah, to Proverbs, I believe. Proverbs 3. It was interesting, this part follows 5 and 6, which is well known. Proverbs 3, 5, 6, where it says, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In other words, the physical perspective. In all your ways, submit to Him. Lean on the spiritual true meaning. In all your ways, submit to Him, and He will make your path straight. So He's telling you that beforehand, we're being told, trust not on your perspective, but in the true perspective, which is spiritual, of God. So you ask for discernment of His word, His truth, His wisdom, His knowledge. Followed by, do not be wise in your own eyes. Trust not your own perspective. Think you know. Fear the Lord and shun evil. Respect the Lord. This will bring health. In other words, turn to the Lord away from evil. This will bring health to your body and nourishment to your bones, so that then you can honor the Lord with your wealth, with the first fruits of all your crops. The crops are your harvest. As you do all these things beforehand, then you'll bear fruit. First fruits spiritually. And you're giving that. In other words, your attention, your praise, your love, your honor. You first feel. Place Him first. What's the first fruit of your love? God. Above all else. First fruits of your praise and honor. God. First fruits of your attention each day. God. God first. First fruits, God. All that of you of spiritual of you, God first. To God. So already we're seeing the transition from the physical, talking about the church, to spiritual. Then your barns will be filled to overflowing. Your barns, speaking physical, are actually barns they keep livestock in and crops in. The barns being that extra that we have spiritually. And your vats will brim over with new wine. I mean, He'll give you so much in abundance. The abundance of the Lord is not wealth, physical, but spiritual wealth. As He said, I'll provide for all your needs. Don't worry about your needs. I'll provide for your needs. Focus on your spirit, things of the spirit, of the heart, and the spirit, and the soul. That's what we're getting into now. What Jesus came to help straighten out. So we're seeing that transition already. Now we move into New Testament. Mark, chapter 12, starting with verse 38. As He taught, Jesus said, watch out for the teachers of the law. He warned you to watch out for these people that are teaching this law, talking about tithing and all that in this particular subject. He says, watch out for them. They'll twist things. They like to walk around in flowing robes and be greeted with respect in the marketplaces. Flowing robes. Think of Joel Osteen comes to mind. The Pope, his flowing robes. They like all the attention and respect and that wealth. Beware of them. He's telling you, beware of them. They have the most important seats in the synagogues and the places of honor at banquets. Sounds so familiar. They devour widows' houses and for a show make lengthy prayers. These men will be punished most severely. Jesus sat down opposite the place where the offerings were put. Sat down opposite the place where offerings were put. There, He's distancing Himself from the physical place of offering, from the money, from the things that people gave to church. He's distancing Himself from those. He sat down opposite. Well, you got to read. That's why that discernment. You see these deeper, truer meanings written in these lines. That the church and mankind is distorted and twisted to fit their needs. Jesus sat down opposite the place where the offerings were made and watched the crowd putting the money in the temple treasury. And all the time shaking his head. Foolish people, putting the money into the temple treasury so they can get wealthier. More than what they need, what they're supposed to have. Many rich people threw in large amounts thinking, hey, again, rich people throwing in larger amounts. That's why the church wanted them richer, so they can get larger amounts. But a poor widow came and put in 2 very small copper coins worth only a few cents. Calling his disciples to him, Jesus said, "Truly I tell you, this poor widow has put more into the treasury than all the others. They all gave out of their wealth, but she, out of her poverty, put in everything, all she had to live on." I mean, she gave more than what she was required to, more of herself. And this reminds me of actual occurrence. And I thought of this when it happened. I was volunteering at a church called the Crossroads, non-denominational, in Southwest Las Vegas, an offshoot of Central Christian Church. Huge churches, focused on being bigger and bigger and bigger. Lots of words that sound great, but I saw so much darkness beneath the surface, the one I was at. I know it's an example of all churches to some degree, some more, some less. Well, first I was volunteering in the prayer room, freely helping people with prayer, listening to them, praying with them, offering advice. Well, there was somebody in there sitting with me one time who I later found out through messages, through spiritual communication, that he was controlled by evil. So I know he spoke to the lady who ran this prayer room. And I was offering advice. I was offering, hey, this worked for me. You can try it. And he said something to her. She came to me, said, we don't want to do that. We just want to listen to them and pray with them. If they need more, church can get in trouble. So be careful. So, but there's brochures over there. Offer them to other people they can go to outside the church, some on a sliding fee basis. And I immediately thought there, whom do you serve? You cannot serve 2 masters. Either you serve God and the laws of God, or man and his laws. So she was worried about the laws of man, then maybe getting in trouble for counseling without a license. So the church get in trouble. She's worried about man, placing man before God. Wrong. And then she wanted to send these people to people who are going to charge money for a gift that is free, ministering and praying and helping others. Charge money to these people. Wrong. I was out of that room. Done. Evil. And one time I was waiting outside that, in between services. This lady comes up to me. She said, "Are they looking for any work?" Oh no, I said, I want to give this check to the church. Why she didn't give it to inside? She wanted to hand it to me because I had name tag on, I guess, to give to the church. She says, I'm on disability, and I'm going to give this check for $300, and she's on disability. I immediately think of the widow. She had a son with her, and says, I want to give this to the church. I said, I can't take it. There's a box over there you can put it in. And she asked me about a job there. If they had any jobs there, so I don't know. Then I saw associate pastor come out, number 2 man. I signaled for him to come over, and she talked to him, said the same thing. He said, "No, I can't take the check, but you can put it in this box over here." And she told me the story. He said, "I know about the job. They rotate, people come and go all the time. So this man here will take your name and number in case something comes up." But never once did he say to her, "Ma'am, you need it more than we do. Thank you so much for that. If you want to give a little bit less, $30, $10, that's fine. But you need it more than us. You take it." Never once did he say that. Because he was hungry and greedy for that money. Take. More than he needs. He's robbing from this widow. He's more than happy to rob from this widow. This is the leader of the church. I was done with that church. Evil. So it was evil, lots of evil in it. And you look closely at your church, if you're going to a church, and you'll see these things too. Then we go to Luke. What was it in Luke? Come back to Luke. Let me find out what that was in there. No, we'll find this because it's still talking about Jesus. Oh, here. This is Luke 12:16. Jesus telling them a parable. The ground of a certain rich man yielded an abundant harvest. He thought to himself, what shall I do? I have no place to store my crops. Then he said, this is what I'll do. I'll tear down my barns and build bigger ones, and there I will store my surplus grain. And I'll say to myself, you have plenty of grain laid up for many years. Take life easy, eat, drink, and be merry. But God said to him, you fool! This very night your life will be demanded from you. Then who will get what you have prepared for yourself? This is how it will be with whoever stores up things for themselves, but is not rich towards God. This is how it will be for people who are focused on physical wealth. Here, he got more than he needed. They wanted to build a bigger house, bigger place to store things. People do this constantly in this world. They want more and more and more. They get it. They want more and more and more. They get it. They want more and more and more. Never satisfied. They get hunger. It's insidious. They want to build a bigger this, build a bigger that. Same thing with the churches. They want more money. They want you to make more money and get more people in so they can make more money, so they can build a bigger church and more buildings and more buildings. More for themselves. Fools. You know the Lord call you from this world, and then what are you going to do with that stuff? Useless. People hang on to it. They hoard it. They hang on to things from the past, internally, physically. Hoarding. Wanting more. Needing more space to store all this stuff, to keep this stuff. More. Fools. This very night your life will be demanded from you. Then who will get what you have prepared for yourself? Whoever stores up things for themselves but is not rich toward God, this is what's going to happen to them. What's going to happen to them? And that's how churches are. More. Just like government, just like business. Now we move forward. Paul. This is modern Christianity. Jesus and Paul. Romans 2, verse 29. No, a person is a Jew who is one inwardly. In other words, spiritually. And circumcision is not circumcision of the heart by the Spirit, not by the written code. So be circumcised in spirit. In other words, you free yourself of all the things from the past, all the things of the physical world, all the things that are not compatible with God. That is circumcision. Such a person's praise is not from other people, but from God. Not by the written code. So don't adhere to the laws of this land. Adhere to the laws of God. What He wants you to do. Needs you to do. Then we go to Romans 8:4. Well, let's start with just the beginning of chapter 8. Therefore, there is now no condemnation for those who are in Christ Jesus, because through Christ Jesus, the law of the Spirit who gives life has set you free from the law of sin and death, which is mankind's law and the sins of this world. For what the law was powerless to do because it was weakened by the flesh, God did by sending His own Son in the likeness of sinful flesh to be a sin offering. So He condemned sin in the flesh in order that the righteous requirement of the law might be fully met in us, who do not live according to the flesh, but according to the Spirit. So He sent Jesus to free us from that, from all this stuff before, to free us, to make this new covenant with us, new contract with us. He freed us up to follow Him, His laws, not mankind. We have a couple more. Romans chapter 12. Therefore I urge you, brothers and sisters, in view of God's mercy, to offer your bodies as a living sacrifice, tithe, holy and pleasing to God. This is your true and proper worship. Tithe of the Spirit and of the body. This is the tithe that Jesus put forth. Remember, God bless.